What's up, everyone, and welcome back to another edition of the Sunday League Screamers podcast. I'm your host of today's show, Steve McCutcheon, along with my two co-hosts, Vino Anazelli and Michael Nolan. We have another great show for you today. Before that, please take a moment and hit the bell to subscribe to our YouTube, iTunes, Spotify, and wherever else you find your podcast. Also, give us a follow over on Twitter at the SL Screamers_pod. Some news.
Ooh.
Oh, right in the eye.
That smells delicious.
For those not watching the video, Mike just cracked open a nice cold brewski, and
contrary to the way you made that sound,
he shook it up. He shook it up on himself a little bit. We're gonna head over to some news and notes from around the world. Obviously, the biggest talking point recently, the Ballon d'Or just came out. Messi won his unprecedented 7th one. What's the
better love story than Twilight? Leo Messi in the Ballon d'Or. I mean, that's ridiculous. That's absolutely absurd. A lot of people saying Lewandowski's been snubbed, and I totally understand that sentiment. In my opinion, I think they should have been looked at as with 2020 and 2021 stats, considering they didn't have it last year, and there was no one more deserving last year than Lewandowski. But given that they're only looking at 2021, like, yes, I know Lewandowski scored more goals and was involved in more goals directly than Messi this year. But this is about the best player in the world and who has done more for their team. I mean, Bayern's going to win the league with or without Lewandowski, but Messi pulled them to a Copa del Rey, almost pulled them to a league title, and then it pulled Argentina to a Copa America victory while creating more, completing more dribbles, more passes, key passes, and things of that nature. So I think if you have to look at it from a player as a whole, I understand the Messi look, but it's disappointing for Lewandowski.
Yeah, I really hope that they go back and at least give some type of accreditation to Lewandowski for 2020, because it just seems so fucked up that he doesn't get the love and respect, and all he gets is a Lego trophy.
Yeah, although pretty bitching.
Hell of a trophy.
It's a cool trophy, but obviously he wants the real thing, like anyone would, and he got that striker award today, which almost feels like it was a reward or an award, I should say, that was created just for him because they knew he wasn't going to get the Ballon d'Or and they were going to give it to Messi. He got the inaugural one, but yeah, it's definitely a heartache for him. Messi, I mean, again, he's almost like a victim of his own success, but yeah, what much deserved to both players. We'd love to see someone just different get it, but I'd say Messi isn't deserved.
It was funny once they announced, because they announced it pretty late, the Striker of the Year award, and you always knew that the voting was going to be pretty close between Messi and Lewandowski. And the moment they announced Striker of the Year, I was like, all right, he's winning that because Messi's getting Ballon d'Or. This is their way of making up for it. Like, it was almost instantaneous. The bookmakers must have just fucking tanked the odds as soon as they heard about that.
Speaking of Ronaldo, you brought him up a little bit. What the Ballon d'Or blatant lies?
Yeah, that was interesting. So there's only two people in the world who know who's going to win the Ballon d'Or, right? And the editor came out, I think it was last night or maybe a couple of days ago. I'm not sure exactly on the timing, but he, quote, said Ronaldo only has one ambition, and that is to retire with more Ballon d'Ors than Messi. I know that because he's told me. And then he goes on to say that Ronaldo was not attending the ceremony because he's quarantining himself. That's why he couldn't make it to the gala. When Ronaldo comes out today and basically blasts him saying, I have never in my life said that. He goes, I want to win everything because I want to win everything. That's just how it is. He goes, you've lied about the last three things you said about me only to promote yourself and your reward. He's like, it's kind of disrespectful that someone in this position with this prestigious award can slander like that. Now, does it sound like something Ronaldo would say? I think we all can agree, yes.
Yeah.
But I mean, you don't know what the truth is, but I mean, for that guy to say that, it's about one of the greatest of all time. That's ridiculous.
Well, maybe he is jealous. Who knows?
Yeah, he's like, I want the trophy.
Ronaldo seems like the jealous type. Let's be real. Like,
oh my God, yeah.
Yeah, he seems very much like the jealous type.
You can hear him saying that, but it's also like, nah, you didn't say that. Come on.
Do you know whose mentality he reminds me a lot of, though? And it's Michael Jordan, whereas he would make up stories in his head against his opponents that never happened at all, just to absolutely go apeshit on them during the game. Ronaldo reminds me 1,000% of that kind of mentality for some reason. And I can't, it just seems like it. Oh,
yeah.
Respect, though, ultimate competitor.
Speaking of the awards, I guess there was one other slight snub potentially. Donnarumma getting the goalkeeper of the year award versus, I guess, Mendy, who's the other who's probably the other person who should have potentially gotten it. Thoughts on that? Because Mendy had a hell of a year.
Mine and Vito's take, obviously.
Yeah, well, I'm just saying from like a third party perspective.
Completely
Mendy
unbiased. Like, yeah, I'm a Chelsea supporter, so of course I'd like to see Chelsea players win as many trophies as they can. But from an completely unbiased standpoint, is Donnarumma an amazing goalkeeper and top 3 in the world? Absolutely. But if you look at the stat lines that they judged the Ballon d'Or on, Mendy led in, I think, every single category, like clean sheets, goals against. They had just about the same amount of games played, clearances. He won the Champions League. I mean, yeah, I know Donnarumma won the Euros. Fantastic achievement. Nothing against that. So if you're going to look at trophies, that and the Champions League should cancel out. So if it's going to come down to a stat line, Mendy not getting it was kind of unbelievable. And it's interesting going online and watching fans of different clubs, like Arsenal supporters going, that's an absolute travesty that Mendy didn't get it. And we've heard something like this recently, didn't we? When he got turned down for like African Player of the Year or something like that, and whatever it was.
I thought it was, I'm not mistaken, Drogba or Eto'o or one of the really prominent African players from the past said like something along the lines of, for them to be able to get an award, they have to basically like 3 times the amount of work as someone like Leo Messi.
He wasn't in the 30-man short list. That's what it was. He wasn't even on the short list.
That's a bunch of bullshit.
Yeah. So it was like, okay, I guess, sure. Not like AC Milan didn't win anything.
Yeah.
But no, I think that's definitely a snub.
Just saying, not want to throw conspiracies out there, but both players play for PSG, and it's a French body and a French reward.
Yeah, I don't know if it's a conspiracy once it's true. I would stake that right now.
Well, I heard they're not corrupt at all, so that's definitely fine. Moving on, Haaland made his return, scored right over our boy John Brooks, actually, within a very short time period. Glad to see him back in action and everything. Possibly future couple Ballon d'Ors over there.
Yeah.
And then really big news out of Italy. Juventus is under fire for allegedly making up transfer fees for players to balance their books in regards to FIFA fair play. What's your guys' takes on it?
Yeah. Apparently, for those who aren't aware, over 42 transfers are being looked into from 2019 to 2021. Pretty much the top execs at Juventus, all under fire, have the potential of being relegated to Serie B, having their Scudetto stripped. I'm assuming there'll probably be fines associated with that or something along the lines of that.
Relegation.
Relegation also, but which we mentioned. But yeah, that is a shitty situation to be in. You obviously, like, teams definitely inflate their players in terms of like the price, but from all accounts, it seems like Juventus did not really give a shit, and they were just like, hey, this guy should be worth 10 million. Let's say he's worth 35. Fuck it. We'll jack the price up. And because of that, they're now in a heap of trouble. So,
yeah, I mean, that's the most Italian football thing ever. Like did this happen a decade ago? Like, to the same guys? Like, come on. Yeah, and apparently Andrea Agnelli, Pavel Nedved, and Fabio Paratici, who's at Spurs, is they're fully cooperating with the investigation, apparently, because I guess at this point, nothing for them to lose. They're not even in the country, not working for Juventus. But you think if they're found guilty, they'll relegate them again?
Yeah, 100%.
You think you have to? Second time offense?
Yeah, they relegated them for match fixing. Not to say that's
that was like 4 teams almost.
Yeah, but still, like, they've done it. It's not to say they won't do it again. So the question is, what I'd be curious is if a lot of those players, especially the older ones like a Bonucci or a Cellini or someone along those lines, do they stay, or do they like, hey, I want to go play Champions League, like a Chiesa or somebody who now becomes on the market because they got to sell to make money? Like, I'm kind of curious how that shakes out for them if they get relegated.
I think Chiesa's gone. Without a doubt, Chiesa has to be gone. He's the most valuable player on that team, and they need the money. If an offer comes in at 60 million, they're going to have no choice.
I think a team like Bayern, who's Nagelsmann's been on record saying how much he loves Chiesa, they'll lowball the shit out of him. And give him
so does Pep at City, because apparently Ferran Torres was just told him he wants to go to Barca, so they're probably looking to replace that hole. Yeah. He's been linked all around, but I think like players like Bonucci and Chiellini would stay and play for that team. To your point, they've been how long have they been there? A decade almost.
It feels like
way more,
right? Like they're Juventus through and through. They're born and bred. So I think those types of guys who know that they're not going to get another big contract anyway will stay for the love of the badge, kind of the way Marquisio did, and Buffon did it when it's happened last time around. But I can't see any of these young guys staying around, especially when there's other teams in Serie A that are starting to challenge. Look what Napoli and AC Milan and Inter are doing in that league right now. Like they're just tearing apart.
Yeah, changing the guards up there.
Yeah.
So moving on to our stars and stripes sections, where we go over all the United States men's national teams, stand-up performances, injury news, bad performances, all that kind of stuff. Not a ton to talk about this week, really. I'm just going to kind of rip through most of it. Wes McKennie, a little bit of an injury, but still playing pretty well. Gio not playing, but ranked 9th in the U under 21 award for best players by FIFA. Pulisic more game time in the Champions League and just looking like his old self right now. P. Folk scored in the Champions League in a 3-3 draw against Atalanta, and then Ream and Zimmerman both scored in 1-1 draws, respectively.
I don't think they scored it both together in a 1-1 draw. I don't know if that's possible. But...
Well, they didn't in the same game play each other.
That's what he's saying.
But crack on the beer open and get a little drunk. Apparently. 2 sips. Anything else we got to add there? Really, I didn't really see too much over the weekend.
No, it was a pretty light week, I think, overall for them. Not a lot of crazy performances.
Yeah,
I think most of the news was off the field this week.
Yeah, a lot of, on a side note, not necessarily stars and stripes, or kind of stars and stripes related, but the MLS playoffs have been pretty good so far. Just kind of catching 1 or 2 games, and if people haven't been watching, definitely check it out because there's been some pretty good talent on display, to say the least.
Yeah, big game tomorrow, New York City versus New England. And who I think should be our first choice keeper playing for New England, Turner.
You think he goes to Europe after this year?
No.
You don't think so?
I don't think so. I feel like if he's playing this well for this long period of time, you'd hear whispers of something by now. You'd be reading something, but there's nothing shaking up. And it's not like it's a center back where you need 2 or 4 on a team. It's a first choice goalkeeper. And I don't think he would leave to go play backup. Not when he's playing for the best team in MLS.
What do you think his level would be if he went internationally? Do you think he would be
championship level? Definitely.
Gold, silver. I'm sorry, rare silver on Foothead. That's
rare silver.
That's it.
I think he'd start on a championship level team. Lower tier first division teams, maybe
like a Newcastle.
I would say,
I would
say that
to build the brand
level, or like even like one of those like teams in like Belgium or the Netherlands or something like that has like that potential to make a Champions League spot, but like it would get bounced in like the first round essentially, something like that.
Yeah.
Definitely around that. I personally don't think he should do what Stefan's doing right now at Man City, because that's the reason he's being able to challenge Stefan is because he's gotten the game time, showed himself and performed really well in his chances for the men's national team. So I think that'd be a step backwards for him. So I really think, championship level team or, just the lower tier first or mid table team in the first division, anywhere really.
Yeah. Goalkeeper's a funny position to me when it comes to comparing against European. Like obviously there are different types of goalkeepers and there's different levels. Like obviously Alisson, you know what I mean? Things of that nature. But the player quality in MLS is obviously lower than it is in Europe. So if you're a defender, you're not going to come up against the pace and the trickery that you're going to get in Europe, because you can't even fake come against that, because no one just has that ability. If they did, they're playing in Europe. But if you're a goalkeeper, you're going to see shots that you would see in Europe. So I feel like you're still going to see the same type of quality coming at you to a degree, more so than an outfield player would. So I don't think he necessarily needs to make a step to Europe to reach Stefan's level. I mean, because he's out there now and he's playing in the MLS.
Okay. I see where your head's at. What about guys like Miles Robinson? Obviously, Ricardo Pepe, a ton of transfer speculation there.
Yeah, any outfield player needs to go.
I think Robinson should go, given his rise recently. I think he'd probably be in that same level almost as Turner, where as he'd be in that championship level center back, and maybe maybe a team teetering on like the Conference League or the UEFA Europa League, something like that. So that's just my opinion.
I got you. Let's head over back to the Premier League right now. We got to go over a weekly recap on what happened in the last match week. First off, I want to kick it off here for us, Mike. We got Arsenal, Newcastle.
Yeah, I hate to say it, but Arsenal looked pretty good, albeit against a super, super shitty Newcastle team.
Super in there.
Yeah, that being said, they did defeat the Toon squad, having over 60% possession, 24 shots, 2 times. the number of passes, and one very specific, sweetly taken goal by Gabriel Martinelli on a first-time chip ball by Tomiyasu from over the right to the left. Martinelli, one-time finish with the right foot, right past Dubravka. It was actually a super nice goal. Bakayoko Saka, had the first goal in general to put Arsenal 1-up. They now sit in 5th place, kind of surprisingly, in all honesty, tied for West Ham at 23, who are sitting in 4th. So they're in a pretty good run of form right now. Newcastle, bottom of the table. Eddie Howe is probably ripping his hair out trying to figure out how to get a defense together, because they really got to start either getting clean sheets or really outscoring their opponents, because it is not looking good for a Newcastle team. And like we said earlier, by the time January comes around, there may not be a team. Is it even going to matter? Exactly. Will it matter? So
they could pull a reverse Juventus and pay the FA to let them stay.
Maybe
that's a bold strategy, Cotton.
Yeah,
maybe.
By the way, it's Bukayo, not Bakayoko. He plays in Italy.
Well, it happens.
We know Mike and his pronunciations.
It happens.
Next up, we had Palace 1, Villa 2.
Yeah, Palace, good game, fought, but ultimately came out below Aston Villa, who became the 2-1 winners in that game. They got a consolation goal at the end, I think around the 90th or 92nd minute.
It's really late on.
Very late. But ultimately, Villa took their chances, capitalized on a pretty eager Palace team. Second goal in particular, John McGinn, wand of a left foot, hit a beautiful finesse shot from the top of the box, right around, I can't remember the keeper's name, but the Palace keeper. And yeah, from there, they kind of saw the game out. Once they gave up the goal, you still kind of thought they'd go through, but it was a good win for Palace, good win for Villa, good win for Gerrard, second game in. So they have to be feeling pretty good with the new manager. So
Gaeta is the Palace keeper. Just for your record.
Thank you.
Then we had Liverpool 4, Southampton 0. Pretty much very straightforward. Jota had 2, Thiago 1, and Virgil van Dijk finished it off with the last one in the 52nd minute. Could have been a lot more as well. They had 20 shots, 6 on target. Southampton, they just never had a chance in this one for the most part. So any other kind of takes on that? Liverpool still look like they're on a hot run of form.
I don't have a take on that in particular, that game, but I will say, because we didn't call it out, the goal that Thiago scored midweek in the Champions League was bonkers. Absolutely bonkers. That ball defied physics. I just wanted to call that out so we don't forget about it, because that ball looked like someone skipped it off a rock off a pond.
He's looked off the pace and off of his normal self since he made that transfer over to Liverpool, but that was a quick reminder of what he brings to the table when he's in that lineup. I mean, he's obviously not known for that, but that's the quality that dude possesses. Like that hit the ground one time. It was a fucking worm burner.
I don't even know if it hit the ground. It looked like it just
it looked like every one of my golf shots this weekend.
Just a burner.
Yeah.
Not a good thing.
Not a good thing. Not a good thing, especially when you're putting.
I don't want to talk about 3 putting, right? Then we had Norwich 0, Wolves 0. What's your guys' take on this one? Because I felt like Norwich could have came away with all 3 points.
I mean, they've been in a really good run of form. I know that's like a weird thing to say, because how could they have been in a worse run of form before 3 weeks ago?
Fair.
But yeah, I'm with you. I think they did look pretty good overall. I think 0-0 is probably a fair result at the end of the day. And I think they'll take it, knowing that they're still putting themselves, they're creating a little bit more distance between themselves and Newcastle and trying to close that gap, and trying to get out of the relegation zone. So I think for Norwich, it's still a good point.
Yeah.
Especially they only had like 40% of the ball, and but they took a lot more shots. I think it was like 14-5 on the shots or something in that effect.
They were more creative going forward. Yeah.
Wolves
really didn't really get much going there. Ironic for the way they've been playing recently. They were kind of held.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty tough here by Norwich.
Do you think disappointed but content would be a good way of putting that for them?
I would say for Wolves, I'd say disappointing but content. I'd say for Norwich, that's a positive. Any point is positive. Are you kidding?
You're talking about top.
Yeah, but knowing you could have got, you could have got 3 points, a winnable 3 points. Where to Steve's point, they did look pretty good going forward.
If I'm a Norwich fan, I'm happy with
Okay.
Yeah,
Just happy with the performance and uptick of form.
Yeah, uptick of form point. They're sitting at second to last, even though they're at ninth, or they have 9 points, and then they're tied on points with Burnley, who had their game postponed. But still, I mean,
they're 3 back of Leeds at this point, right?
Exactly.
Granted, obviously goal differential much different, but 3 back of where they need to be at, 4 points away. Like they're fine.
They're fine. Yeah, they're chilling right now. We're not chilling, but
they have them right where they want them. All right, that's exactly what it is.
The old rope-a-dope. I love it.
What do they call it in Ricky Bobby? The
slingshot.
The slingshot.
Unfortunately, there's like a 14-car pileup in front of them engaging the slingshot. Sorry, 14. I meant to say 16.
A little shake and bake.
Little shake and bake.
Little team of Pookie.
Stop shaking and baking and get some points.
Could that be that? Imagine like a Timu, Pookie, and Josh. I mean, Josh Sargent kind of looks like John. What's the actor's name? John C. Reilly.
John C. Reilly. He's a ginger John C. Reilly.
If they did like a little like shake and bake action, like I'm just saying, they could pull it off.
It's there for I see where your head's at. I do like it. I do like it. Moving on, another 0-0 game. We had Brighton nil, Leeds nil.
Yeah, Brighton will regret some missed opportunities this game. Was, I think, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't Graham Potter booed at the end of the game by the home fans?
Did you hear what he said at the end of the game in the press interview?
Go for it. What do you say?
He literally goes, I'm paraphrasing here, but he goes, yeah, he's like, I don't know why they're really booing me. He's like, I guess the fans need like a history lesson of where this team was like 2 years ago.
Oh my God.
Pretty much is what he said. And I was like, that's kind of a savage but realistic thing to say because, like, be humble, man. Like, come on. Like you can't be booing a Brighton team who are sitting top half of the table, like just because they didn't get a point or I can
see the fans' frustration though, based off where they are, the differences in the teams in the table right now currently, and the performances they were used to coming into this, like the first third of the season.
Look, the fact of the matter is this team was in a horrific position last year because they couldn't finish off their chances. They were creating all these opportunities that they couldn't put away. And this game was very symbolic of that. We're two balls off the woodwork and had numerous opportunities to score, but just couldn't find the final one. And we always knew it was going to be a struggle when they didn't really make any true signings at that striker position to really help bolster them. So are they underplaying or were they just overperforming at the beginning of the season? But I mean, all signs are pointing to them overperforming at the beginning.
I mean, like you just said, this was a telltale sign of what one of their games was last year. They expected 20 shots, 15 chances created, 2 big chances, and then almost 2 expected goals for this game, and they didn't put either of them away.
Yeah.
It's literally identical. I mean, do I think they were overachieving in the beginning? Yes and no. I think they were just finishing off what they should have been doing the entire time, and now they're just kind of going back into their ways.
Look, they're still 9th in the table, level on points with Man United and 1 behind Tottenham. I mean, they're still 5. They're only 5 points off of 5th place and 2 points off of tied for 6th. So I mean, they're not in a bad position.
I mean, even now, like if you were a Brighton fan, I feel like if you saw the table,
you'd be happy,
and you were told that in the beginning of the year.
Yes.
Yeah, you'd be fucking happy. Yeah, absolutely. I wouldn't boo.
No, I agree. What he's doing for that team is remarkable to say the least.
I mean, they're getting healthier too, right? Lamptey's back, Trossard's there, Mopai's back. Cucurella's putting in performance after performance for him on that left wing, left back, whatever.
Adam Lallana,
call for him.
Danny Welbeck.
Yeah, like their team's looking good. Like there's nothing about it. It's just the finishing. And is Maupay the guy? I don't know.
Yeah. And then for Leeds, vice versa, I almost feel like they're going through what Wolves went through last year, where like Jimenez got hurt, Bamford gets hurt. Now they just look like a fish out of water, and they don't know what to do, man.
Mm-hmm.
Like they really need some type of center forward signing if Bamford isn't healthy by January, because they're struggling.
I agree.
Yeah, Rodrigo's is not doing it like everyone thought they would when they signed him last year.
Yeah.
He's playing more of a center attacking mid role right now, and I think a lot of people thought he'd be that center forward when Bamford wasn't there or challenging for the spot.
Yeah. So they got their work cut out.
Tough one. Moving on, we got Brentford and Everton.
Yeah. Brentford 1-0 winners off of VAR call, which Ivy Toney ultimately converted. They finally snapped a little bit of a losing or a poor streak for them, just for Everton to go on an even uglier streak, to say the least. They're now down to 14th, if I'm not mistaken, right? 14th on fifth with 15 points. The honeymoon phase for them is 1000% ended with Rafa Benitez. I'm curious.
Like fucking Hindenburg.
Yeah, seriously.
Jesus, all right, we're going there.
Yeah, they are sliding, man.
Not to mention midweek match against Liverpool.
Yeah, it is. That looks like we'll get to that, but that looks very gloomy, to say the least. Thoughts on Everton? Thoughts on Brentford, excuse me.
Brentford.
Good for them. They're getting off the mark again. Maybe that can start spurring something. As bad as a form as Everton is in, we'll get to the midweek game, obviously, but I think that this is going to sound really stupid, probably. I think that's one of the best games that they can actually come up against, because a huge rivalry like that, to kind of reinstill a little bit more inspiration in the team and just kind of get them remotivated, might not be a bad thing.
I think it'll be a terrible thing, because they're going to get the shit.
If you don't lose 5-0.
Yeah, they're going to get their dicks kicked in.
If they don't lose 5-0.
I'm sorry for anyone who's an Everton fan listening. Just be mentally prepared.
I love Everton as a club. Liverpool is I mean, they're Liverpool right now. I mean,
yeah,
they're looking like Champions League favorites at the moment. I mean, Everton have gotten 1 point in the last 5 games. I don't know. I mean, it's just maybe it's injuries hitting them, like we had discussed previously a couple times, or maybe it's the fact that Rafa showing his true colors again, that he had a bump in form when he came in as a new manager, but it quickly faded away. I mean, whatever the case may be, Steve, I agree with you. If they could pull off the
even
Merseyside
a point,
derby,
like some type of positive performance in the toughest game, your most fierce rival, like that's something that could really reinvigorate a squad and just take them and forward, and push them forward. Sure. Again, like Mike said, they could lose 5-0 and it could be absolutely miserable.
Yeah. Well, here's the good news. It's not at Anfield, because we know historically Everton have won one game there in like 40 years or something ridiculous to that effect.
Ridiculous number, yeah.
Yeah, so they will be the home team. So if it definitely tips it in their favor a little bit, hopefully the fans can get behind them. I mean, I think it's going to be a good game. This match is always so heated, so I wouldn't rule them out of it. But I think a win's a lofty target. If they can come away with this game with a point, I think they'll be happy.
Yeah,
agreed. Burnley versus Tottenham postponed due to snow.
I guess on a side note, what the fuck, Burnley? Like, come on. You don't have
Burnley in the snow.
You don't have the ability to have your soil heated like any other club in the 20th century. This is ridiculous.
This was disappointing to me. I used to play when we used to play FIFA in college all the time. I had a buddy who always picked Burnley and always made it snow. And every time he would score, he'd go Burnley in the snow. And I didn't get a chance this week, and it fucking snowed.
Yeah,
love it. Moving on, we had Leicester 4, Watford 2.
Yeah, good old Leicester looked like they were a bit of Leicester of the old, a good attacking performance from them, and still a little bit leaky at the back. Big performances from Vardy with 2 goals, Maddison 2 goals and an assist. And they spoiled Ranieri's return back to the King Power Stadium. It was a little bit of a cagey affair. I mean, the first goal opened the scoring. I don't know what the hell Trusty Kong was doing, but he just let the ball fall right behind him. And Maddison was like, oh, thanks, and just walked into the net practically. Granted, the same thing ended up happening later when the ball was nicked off a defender's feet for Leicester, but very good game. I think credit to Watford, though, who fought and clawed their way back into this game as much as possible. I mean, at one goal down, they hit the post before Josh King converted, leveling it back to 1-1. And then again, down at 3-1, like I said, nicking the ball with his feet and coolly chipping Kasper Schmeichel in net to make it 3-2. But ultimately, Leicester ran out of here winners of 4-2 and in a blizzardy affair like Edmonton a couple weeks ago. I think they definitely deserved it, and hopefully this is the kickstart that Leicester needed. But still questions to be asked of that back line. They look shaky at times.
I'm kind of curious too, like with Watford, because for me personally, they're overperforming way what I thought they'd even be at this point. I really thought they would be at the bottom of the table at the beginning of this year. So, it's good for them, to say the least, that they're sitting at 13th. Obviously, it's still a long season, and this congested period will be pretty big for not just them, but all teams. And it'll be interesting to see how, after this December period shakes up, what like teams like a Watford do and what teams like a Leicester do and where they end up sitting by like January 1st, like once this busy period ends. So
truthfully, I feel like they have very similar seasons so far this year. Both of them been up and down performances in almost every other match week. I feel like we're just talking about, I'm like, oh, they did amazing. It's going to kickstart the campaign. Oh, they're back to being trash again.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Realistically, if Watford wins this game, they're actually ahead of Leicester.
Yeah.
It would have been a 3-point swing. They'd be 1 point above them.
Yeah,
Leicester gets back up into the top 10, but
I think it all comes down whether or not they can continue that attacking set that they've been carrying. I mean, they have Emmanuel Dennis, Joshua King, and Ismail Yassar have been standout performers for them up front, each with 5 goals already in the league this season, and I think almost like 10 assists between them, almost at least. The back has just been their issue. I mean, they're leaking in goals left and right at any given point in time, and that's where they're getting hurt. I mean, you put away 2 goals in a match against a struggling Leicester team. You hope that's enough to at least nab you a point. But you can't let up 4 goals or 3 goals every week, which is what they seem to be doing at times. It's just the opportunistic times when they're scoring 4. It's like, okay, great.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Leicester kind of reminds me a little bit of Leeds, a little bit less attacking football, but to the point of where every game they're gonna have to win right now is gonna be like a 4-3 or 3-2 or something along those lines. They can't figure out defensively. So they have to go ahead forward, and you have to score 2 to 3 a game right now at this point for them to get 3 points.
Yes, absolutely. Exactly what I'm saying. Like they haven't cleaned it up. Yeah.
So then moving on, we had Man City versus West Ham.
Yeah, that was a pretty big win for Man City. We talked about it earlier in the season. Our prediction was there was going to be a handful of teams, 3 or 4 at the top, that are kind of playing in the league of their own. And I think this win by City pretty much put a staple in that by clearing a little bit of distance between the top 3, and then West Ham now in 4th place with 23 points. The scoreline suggests this game was a lot closer than it actually was. Man City were all over them from the offset of this game. Man of the match, Gundogan, goal and an assist for him, even though he really didn't know much about the assist. He just kind of nicked off his foot before Fernandinho put it away. But 97% pass completion, which is fantastic. They could have had a couple more. Riyad Mahrez slotted one away, but was ruled off marginally for VAR. And in reality, City dominated possession like they do almost week in, week out. West Ham, though, did pull a goal back at the end in 93rd minute or something like that, with Lanzini, absolute worldy, taking a half volley on the turn and just clipping one off the inside of the post. Ederson could do nothing about it. I feel like that guy just scores bangers when he does score time to time. But ultimately, there was really only one way this result was going to go.
Yeah,
and a little bit of a speed bump now for West Ham, losing the last 2 matches. What do you guys think?
No reason for concern. Yeah.
Man City and Wolves, not really the worst thing in the world. Man City definitely. Wolves, week to week, I mean, they can play with anybody in the entire Premier League right now. So
yeah. And then
does it suck?
They beat Liverpool the week before that.
That's true.
So yeah,
not much of a concern level, if any at all, realistically. Man City, good for them. 1 point back at Chelsea now. Just kind of moving on to that game too. Yeah, Chelsea won, Man U won. Good for Man U, or the point at least, I guess.
Great for Man U. Are you kidding me?
Honestly, fantastic for Man U.
They looked terrified
if you
for the first 45 minutes of that game.
If you look at the attacking map, they break it down by like every 5 minutes or so, and it's kind of like almost like a chart that shows you who had the more attacking threat. I think there's only 2 intervals out of like the 20 that are on there that Man United even had a sliver in their portion of the chart. Like it was unbelievable. Chelsea were all over them to the start. The only issue for Chelsea is you're back to the same old question that we thought was going to be solved when Lukaku signed. Where are the goals coming from? I mean, your defenders have more goals than your forwards this season. I mean, Hudson-Odoi's missing opportunities. Werner couldn't hit the broadside of a fucking barn. He couldn't hit a fish in water if he was on a boat, for God's sakes, at this point in time. It's fucked up, but like it is what it is. And I mean, it's just it's just what it felt like. I mean, 24 shots compared to United's 3, and you have to rely on a penalty, which, to be honest, if it wasn't for VAR, I don't even know that they would have
given it.
Yeah, I think it looked a little soft. Was it a penalty? Yes, I think so. I don't know if you guys think differently.
I think VAR saved them there. It did look soft.
Yeah, it did look a little soft. I think ultimately though it was. But to be honest, if you walk out of that game, you're singing United's praises more than Chelsea's, even though Chelsea on the day looked 10 times better.
Oh, yeah.
Bailly and Lindelof, I think, put it in the best performance a Manchester United defense has put in all season, like including Champions League or anything else by a mile. I mean, between them, they had 15 clearances and won 5 aerial duels, including like I think a 2-on-1 where Lindelof had the most perfect positioning I've ever seen to clear a heading cross.
Was Maguire playing that game?
Suspended.
No. It was Lindelof. Yeah, there you go. Exactly. Yeah. It was a Bailly Lindelof center of the defense, and they looked very good. I mean, good for it's congratulations to Jadon Sancho, I guess, for putting away his first Premier League goal for United. But are you guys still worried about United, and to what extent?
Honestly, I'm now slightly scared of United, to be honest, because
or of them.
of them, in all honesty. I think Ragnick was a phenomenal.
Yeah,
we will get to this. I think Ragnick was a phenomenal coaching hire on their end, and the guy is pretty much credited with being the father of pressing style.
The guy can press.
Yeah, exactly. Like, I mean, that's a team also who doesn't like to press. So it'll be interesting to see how like the likes of like Ronaldo and other players who don't necessarily seem to be totally on the front foot do that. But that being said, I mean, that guy's going to demand 1,000% out of you. And, he's going to make those teams and those players work like he did at Leipzig, like he did at Hoffenheim, like he did at other clubs. And I think they have a relatively easier, quote unquote, run a schedule over the next couple games, if I'm not mistaken. It's going to give him some time to get his team in place and kind of instill the philosophy they have. And I wouldn't be surprised if over the next month, given the schedule and the strength of schedule they have for the teams they're playing, they're going to probably make a surge up the table, I'd say, by the end of December.
Moving on, we have 2 match weeks coming up. We got 14 and 15. We got some midweek action. If you want to just guys start right there, we'll top it off with Tuesday games. We got Newcastle hosting Norwich.
Toilet bowl.
Don't assault the ball.
Norwich has been playing good. That's mean.
All right, I'm sorry. Yeah, I want to say draw here, but given the way Newcastle have been playing, I kind of get the feeling, and the way Norwich have been playing for that fact, I can see a 1-0 Norwich win happening with this team. So
take the under. I agree with Mike though.
Yeah, I filled out my predictions before we jumped on. I picked Norwich as well. I like the way they've been looking recent weeks. And I mean, if you're ever going to pick a team that they're going to have a good chance to beat, it's going to be Newcastle.
Okay, now everyone else go take Newcastle because all three of us took Norwich.
I just fucking blew it.
Then we got Leeds hosting Palace.
Leeds Palace is going to be interesting. I think this is where Palace gets back on the horse. Leeds haven't failed to impress me other than maybe 1 or 2 times this season, while Crystal Palace are just coming off of a good run of form. So I think Vieira's going to get them firing again. I know they're away from home, but I like Crystal Palace's chances in this match.
Do you think that's where it starts to slide for Palace though after a loss? Or do you think they just?
I think this game could determine that.
They breeze it.
I think it could
win.
I think it should be one of those determining games, in all honesty, because like they're gonna have again like the more congested run of fixture, and this is like that key game where like you get off to a good start, you pick up some momentum throughout these games. So
yeah,
if they hit it, they're probably gonna do relatively well. I don't think they're gonna get a win here against Leeds. I think this has kind of got a draw written all over it for me. Probably like a 1-1 kind of draw, something like that. But because I just don't know where the goals are going to come from Leeds. I think they get something. But Palace also, like, I'm just not sure like they're going to be able to fully break down like a Leeds team. That being said, Leeds aren't the greatest defensively, but Palace have just been drawing like crazy this year. And to me, it just kind of screams draw.
Yeah, it is tough. I honestly, even though Leeds are at home, I really just don't see them taking 3 points from this one at all. Mostly because of the creativity issues they're having, which is unlike them typically. Bamford's their leading assisting man with 2, and he's played in 5 games.
Yeah. To Mike's point, Crystal Palace have drawn more than half their games. They have 7 draws in 13 matches.
Yeah, they're specialists at this point.
Yeah.
the opposite of Tottenham, right? Doesn't Tottenham never draw?
So are you taking Palace then, Steve?
Yeah, I'm gonna go Palace. I'm gonna take him. I feel like I should want to draw. Anyway, on to Wednesday. We have Watford hosting Chelsea.
Yeah, I'm just gonna go ahead and write Chelsea down for everybody.
Mike,
I mean, this is kind of one of those games where like, could a Watford team come through? No.
Absolutely not. No, if it wasn't for the
goals,
fact that
I
they
feel
can't defend, I mean, even Werner's probably going to get a goal in this game at this point.
Whoa. Wonder
Yeah,
what
that's
the
a
odds are
bold
for
prediction
that.
right there.
Take the over and a Werner goal. Oof.
That's like a
That's
plus
gotta be like plus
12,000 odd
800 right there.
Yeah,
Moving on, we got Southampton hosting Leicester.
Southampton just got pumped. And
Leicester did the pumping.
Leicester did the pumping. So with that in mind, I kind of want to say a Leicester win. I'm like not convinced by myself saying that, but
Is that a
2
question?
on the bounce form.
I think Leicester will get the win. I'm not like totally confident in it, but
I actually think it's going to end up being a draw this match. I know Leicester did get the win, but they did make it close for themselves at times, and they were bundles of mistakes. It's not like it was a one-off where this is the first time this has happened this season. I know Southampton's probably not the toughest opponent they're gonna face this year, but I have a hard time judging this performance off how they performed against arguably the best team in the league in Liverpool. I think this is going to be kind of a sloppy affair, in my opinion, in the South Coast.
yeah, it'll be a cagey game. I can see that.
Yeah, I'm gonna take a draw here as well. It just feels so typical of Leicester season to have a letdown game after a big win like that.
Yeah.
That's literally the only reason why I'm doing that. If they win, it's because of Vardy, and if anything else happens, it's because he doesn't score. So I'm gonna take a draw.
Exactly. Yeah.
Then we have West Ham hosting Brighton. Pretty interesting game actually.
What do you think?
Do we want to bet the XG? Can we bet that?
Brighton all day, baby, right there. Dude, that's tough. West Ham at home, coming off
two straight losses. I think they bounced back.
2 straight. I thought they won between.
No, West Ham lost the last 2 matches they played.
Oh, that must be.
They won. They won in the Europa League in between those two.
Yeah. I'll go West Ham win.
Fun fact for you: Brighton 6 draws this season. So, with that in mind, the way West Ham's kind of playing, Brighton's not putting away the chances. West Ham kind of a little tiny bit of a slide. I can see there being goals, but I don't see there's a winner in this game. I would say a 1-1 draw. Yeah,
I like it.
Did you go, Vito? I didn't even hear if you.
Yeah, no, I'm taking West Ham for this. Like I said, the 2 games on the slide. I think they bounce back here with a struggling Brighton side at home in the Olympic Stadium.
Got you. Then moving on to Manu, Wolves hosting Burnley.
It's hard to go against Burnley, but I'm sorry, it's hard to go against Wolves right now, but I actually think this is going to be a draw. Wolves are winning games, but they're not winning them by a wide margin for the most part. I mean, I think what was last week? 1-0 again?
1-0. Well, before the draw, 0-0 draw. It was 1-0. Then they lost 2-0, 1-2-1. Yeah, they're not blowing out.
Yeah, they're not blowing out teams. They're keeping it close, and that's just staunch Burnley defense. They're away from home. They're probably going to sit deep and try to defend with a ton of men behind the ball. I don't think there's going to be a whole lot of opportunities. Maybe each side nick one. But I think it's going to end up being probably a 1-1 game or 0-0 game with a draw in it.
Last time they won a game by 2 goals or more was against a Watford on September 11th.
Okay, yeah, there you go.
2.5 months, almost 3 now.
I see a 1-0 win for Wolves at the Monaco, or however you pronounce it. I think that stadium is not a fortress, but it's a hard stadium to play in, and it'll be loud. It'll be hectic. Not to say Burnley won't put up a good fight after resting their players for the game against Tottenham, but I don't see Burnley getting a point in this.
Wolves win. Wang He Chang.
Assisted by Jimenez.
Assisted by Jimenez, yeah. We'll go with that. Then we got Aston Villa hosting City. Aston Villa 2 wins on the bounce, looking good ever since the Gerrard hire.
Yeah, definitely. But
That's
they
where
have
it
to play
ends.
Manchester City.
Yeah, that's where it ends. Here.
Yeah. Well, it was
Sorry.
fun while it lasted.
No Stevie G magic in this one, boys.
Stevie G out
No.
after this game, probably.
Oh, that's
Yeah, I
seems a
don't
bit
say
excessive.
I don't want to say Stevie G out, but
No,
I
I'm
don't see,
kidding.
I don't see I think there's only a select handful of teams in the world that could beat Manchester City right now, and I'm not sure Villa's one of them. So
At home though.
it doesn't
It
matter.
doesn't matter.
I don't care.
Yeah.
It's Manchester City.
Just trying to have some
They
fun.
just beat PSG. I mean, I don't think they're going to have too much trouble with Aston Villa. No offense to Aston Villa.
All right, Man City it is. We got the Merseyside derby to cap off Wednesday's games. So Everton is hosting Liverpool.
Yeah, I know we touched upon it, and that if Everton can get something out of this, it might turn their season around a little bit, but I just don't think this is going to be the game for them to do it. I mean, talk about a team in horrific form against a team in unbelievable form at the moment. Even regardless that they lost one, I think a couple weeks ago, what was it, to West Ham? Liverpool did.
Yeah.
I can't see how they're going to find a way to stop that front three. I mean, Mo Salah is playing like a man possessed.
That whole front three is playing like men possessed.
Yeah.
Real. Like they're out of their freaking minds.
Yep.
I'm getting shades of like the Arsenal Tottenham game earlier this season where like, not to say Everton were on a crazy run of form like Spurs in the beginning or anything like that, but more or less, you know, one team ascending, one team descending. And I feel like you're just going to see this collision and it's not going to go well for Everton. And it'll just be, it might not be a pumping of like 4 or 5-0, but I think it'll be a comprehensive like 2 or 3-0 win. And it'll just be like men against boys on that field.
You think Everton might sit back in defense a little bit and try to soak up some pressure for a while, a large portion of the game, and try to hit them in the second half?
I think they have to. I don't
From
think they have a choice.
Benitez's squad? Absolutely.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
have to. Yeah.
Liverpool just need one. I think the floodgates are going to open.
Yeah. I could probably see it being 2-0, 3-0. I don't think
Yeah.
they'll go. I don't think they'll do more than that, but
Everything points to blowout. I don't know. I just feel like Everton it just makes way too much sense for them not to pull anything out of the hat. But I'm gonna go Liverpool win. I'm gonna regret it when this is a draw. Moving on. Besides the fact that Mike's favorite new word is pumping right now, Tottenham hosts Brentford on Thursday.
another pumping. No. I think Spurs will ultimately get a draw here, in all honesty. I don't think they're going to get a win. I think they'll be better rested, but Spurs are, you know, slightly in okay form. Maybe they come out a little bit hotter after that abysmal performance in the Conference League where they lost to literally the lowest ranked team in any competition.
Convincingly.
Yeah, like they did it, and damn, they did it good.
If there was ever one team that was going to do it, Mike.
if you're gonna let it happen, just go full set.
Yeah, if it wasn't going to be the other North London team, it was going to be you.
Yeah, it was a sight to behold. I think they come out a lot hotter. I think that you're still going to see some defensive issues, especially because Christian Romero isn't playing, and because of that, I see it being like either a 1-1 draw or like, I don't want to say a loss, but probably like a 1-1 draw. I think they got on the score sheet, both of them, but no winner.
Yeah, no, I'm with you on the draw. I think it's going to be a very sloppy game again. I mean, I think they were very lucky to get away with all 3 points against Leeds. And I mean, they had a 0-0 draw with Everton, squeaked by Vitesse in the previous Europa League match, and they got hammered by United. So, I mean, it's the N'Golo Kante effect is going to take time. I think his style is going to have to take a while to get implemented with that squad. And Brentford, I think, are a good team, and they like to attack. And to your point, Mike, with Christian Romero being out, which is definitely the stalwart of your defense, I think you're going to run some trouble with this team. I think it's going to be like a 1-1, 2-2.
Yeah, I can see that.
I'm gonna take a Tottenham win. Actually, I think Antonio Conte murders his players if they don't, and that's enough motivation in my book.
Honestly, send him back to Juventus.
Honestly, I hope he does. If there's anything less than a win, but I'm not confident.
They ran nothing but up, down, suicides, whatever you want to call them, the entire next 2 days of practice after that last Thursday. So they're going to be in great shape, ready to go. And I think I think just nick 3 points. The Brentford win, although good for them, grabbing 3 points and kind of changing their season around against the lowly Everton side. I don't think they have enough to go forward and beat Tottenham. So, and then last game for the midweek matches, we got Man U hosting Arsenal.
Yeah, good game. Should be a good game.
I honestly don't even want to watch this game.
Okay.
To be honest.
Not a good game.
I want to see what Ragnarok does. And I think that's how you pronounce his name. And I know we touched on him before, but for anyone that doesn't know, he's credited with basically teaching Thomas Tuchel and Jurgen Klopp, 2 of the top 5 managers in the world, how to coach a team. So it's going to be an interesting match to see him finally in charge. But it's going to be hard to say anything other than a Man United win for this match at Old Trafford. In my opinion, I think I take United in this match simply for the fact that on paper, I think they're a better team than Arsenal.
Yeah. I just don't know if I trust the kids just yet for Arsenal because, Arteta is going to play a younger squad. And I'm just not sure at Old Trafford against that type of team. I'm not sure they're able to walk away with 3 points, maybe 1, but I'd probably say a Man U win.
I see what you're both saying.
But
now I'm taking Man U win as well. I don't like Arsenal. and that's my only reasoning.
All
right. And then we just got to cover the weekend matches real quick. We'll just rip through them. Don't have to give too much of a description for anything. We got West Ham hosting Chelsea. Pretty good game.
Chelsea.
Yeah. I'm going to take a draw there. Newcastle hosting Burnley.
Draw.
Burnley win.
Yeah, I like a Burnley 1-0. Southampton hosting Brighton.
Brighton.
I'll help you out, Vito. Draw. Wolves hosting Liverpool.
Liverpool.
Yeah, Liverpool.
Wolves upset. Watford.
I was so close to saying that, Steve. I was so close to saying that.
You're welcome. Someone's got to have the balls to do it. Watford hosting City.
City.
You want to try that upset, Vito?
Nope. Good pass. Hard pass.
Okay.
I didn't think I needed to answer.
I thought we were
just going to skip that one when it came to me.
Moving on to Sunday. Leeds hosting Brentford. Pretty good. That's a really good game, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oof.
Draw for me.
Leeds.
Brentford. Man U hosting Palace.
I'm gonna say here we go. Palace 2-1 win.
Wow.
That is bold.
I'm gonna take another draw for this.
I'm with Vito on that one. Tottenham hosting Norwich.
Spurs.
I don't know about that.
This is a tough one. I really don't want to pick Tottenham.
Oh, it's okay.
No, it's Spurs through and through, I think.
We got Aston Villa, Leicester.
Draw.
Villa winners after they get as Steve has been saying, pumping, or I've been saying pumping.
You've definitely been saying pumping.
Yeah, but now you brought it up. But anyway, Villa winners. I think Gerrard works his magic after the City loss. They're going to inevitably take midweek. So
I'm a Vito draw again. He's probably got like about 8 out of 9 of them. And then last game of the match week, Everton hosting Arsenal.
Fuck.
I really don't want to say draw again, but I think it's good.
I could see
I'll
that
take Arsenal
easily,
for this one.
I could easily see that being a draw after a really poor performance against Liverpool. So
I'm with Arsenal.
That
one hurt. It hurt to say. I'm not gonna lie.
It did hurt to say.
I felt like
thank you for saying that.
I'm gonna
really
say
hurt.
draw just because fuck Arsenal.
doesn't want to give it to him. That's fair. Any other final thoughts, boys? We got 2 full match weeks worth of football. coming at us.
No, is this the first midweek Premier League fixtures?
Yeah,
I think so, honestly, because we've had so much Champions League. It's been a very congested schedule, so they've mostly just been playing on weekends.
Yeah, no, my only thought is it was great watching the matches in the snow this weekend.
Yeah, loved
that
it.
was cool to see finally.
Loved
Little winter games.
I haven't seen snow in years.
Yeah, you probably haven't.
Well, that's because you live in California, in San Diego.
Welcome back to the East Coast, my friend. It was about like 37 when I was walking my dog.
I'll be back in 3 weeks. I'm not looking forward to that.
Looking forward to seeing you, bud. And that'll do it for this episode of the Sunday League Screamers podcast. Like, comment, hit the bell, and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also find us on Spotify, Apple, and wherever else you get your podcast. Follow us on Twitter at the SL Screamers_pod for daily tweets and updates about the show and world football. I'm your host, Steve, with Vito and Mike signing off.